Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I wanted to do another video on a couple of current events that are happening right now that you might want to be aware of. So the first one obviously is the fact that Griner, and I'm sorry, but I'm only going to use her last name, was brought home from Russia as a trade for Victor Bout. And she's a basketball star, she's an Olympian, and she was able to come home while Marine Paul Whelan is still sitting in prison. So, the White House has come out and said that, well, it was either one or none. And then it was, well, they said that it was either her or none. Uh, they left a man behind. And I am really angered by that. Victor Bout, for those of you who don't know, he was known as the Merchant of Death. And in the late 1990s, he was only second to Osama bin Laden as a target for the State Department. That's how bad this guy is. And we traded him for a basketball player. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to do some more digging on this case because I think that there's a whole lot more here that I haven't had time to fully research it yet. But so Victor Bout, he was an arms dealer basically for Russia. But he had a flagship company called Irbis, Irbis. And they were a private airlift courier for supplies intended for the U.S. military and contractors in occupied Iraq in 2004. Okay, so he was second only to Osama bin Laden as a target. He had a flagship company called Irbis, which carried supplies for the U.S. military and contractors in Iraq in 2004. So what I'm looking into now is what is Irbis, Irbis, airlift courier, and were or are any U.S. government officials, do they have any ties to that? So look for that in an upcoming video. But I'm really, I'm glad she's home, of course. I wouldn't want anybody to be in that position. But she should not have been put first ahead of this Marine that was left behind. It really says a lot about where the priorities are for this administration, and it really makes me mad. The second thing I want to bring to your attention today is a case filed with the Supreme Court on October 24th of 2022. The case number is 22-380, so you can look this up for yourself. What this is essentially is that, and I should have wrote the guy's name down, I apologize, is filing for basically treasonous charges against, I believe it's 388 government people. And that includes the big chief, his second in command, a lot of senators, a lot of House members, and because they did not investigate the election fraud and all of that was going on, the White House was given a document that was signed by 100 Congress people, saying that something's not right, these votes should not be certified. And again, remember, this stems back to 2020. Some of whom, those people, are still sitting in jail, in solitary confinement, because they're these horribly bad people, right? And I have to be careful what I say here, as you well know. So this case was filed, as I said, October 24th, 2022. The information in this is being given to the Supreme Court justices on, ironically, January 6th of 2023. Okay, at that point, if 4 justices agree to hear this case, it's all it takes is 4. If 4 justices agree to hear this case, then they will proceed to the hearing, which is, evidence presented, both sides, state their case, blah, 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 and then the Supreme Court decides what to do from there. Why is this significant? Well, I'll tell you why. Because, and I won't be able to put the link in as I'm doing this video, but I'll do it in the comments section after I make this video, of where you can actually go in and read the 18-page document that was sent to the Supreme Court. Basically, what they're saying is, because all of this stuff was never investigated back in 2020, that there was a dereliction of duty and treason, and there were a lot of constitutional amendments and articles, state articles, that were violated. Okay. And so the respondents named in this case include the big guy, a second in command, many senators and Congress people, including Pelosi. I'm going to try to put this link in the comments below so that you can actually look at it and see. Basically, if the Supreme Court in this case finds for the plaintiff, there is a stoppage of government, because the president, vice president, senators, and Congress people that are named in this file would have to be immediately removed from office. Now, I know that this sounds absolutely insane and crazy, and there's no way, and but there were a lot of judges previously that all of these allegations were filed to, that failed to uphold the right of the people for their voices to be heard. There should have been an investigation before the votes were certified in 2020. And they weren't. And nothing's been investigated since then. When you have 100 Congress people saying, whoa, something here is not right. We're not supposed to have, and again, I have to be careful here. I'm just stating what many believe to be true. Let me put it that way. That our voting machines were connected to the internet, and that went overseas, which we're not supposed to have outside influence on our elections, and then results would be returned, and it wasn't the same as what was put in, and the company for these voting machines was next door to Soros's office in Canada. The list goes on and on. I don't know what evidence these guys have included in their case to the Supreme Court. I have no idea. I can't find it. It's probably going to be sealed. But I want you to be aware of this, because when that rope gets a little bit tighter around the blue people, they are going to say, oh, look at what's going on over here, because we don't want you to see what's going on over here. And that's what they've been known to do, and they're doing it now with some of the bills that they're passing. And I've talked about that before in other videos too, that some of the stuff that are going in these bills that they're just pushing through have absolutely nothing to do with the American people. It doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make my life better. It makes the elites richer. It makes us more divided. It makes us have to work harder for the things that we need to survive. And that can be very much backed up by the release of Griner, who had no qualms about showing how much she hated this country. But we're still going to bring her back rather than somebody who, from what I've heard, there is some past history with this Marine. But he's still a Marine. He's still served. He's a veteran of the United States military. That should have been put above anybody else, in my opinion. But it shows you that we, the people, are very, very last on the bottom of this totem pole right now. People coming across the border come first. All the illegals come first. People that fit certain profiles for voting come first before our armed service people. Case in point, we shouldn't be paying for Ukrainian government retirement funds when we should be paying to get our veteran heroes off the streets and into housing. That makes me really angry. We should not be doing that. The one thing I'm thankful for is I read an article, and again, I haven't researched anything to get a lot of specifics on it. But one of the first thing when the new house convenes in January, is they're going to look at that debacle that happened in Afghanistan and why we left billions of dollars of military equipment over there. Why we still have allies, Afghani people that put their life on the line to help us, and Americans still sitting in Afghanistan. Why weren't these people brought home? And that is one of the first things on the floor for the House when they reconvene in January with the new House of Representatives. The problem is, like I said, the more that rope gets tightened, the more desperate they get. So there's a lot of things to keep our eyes on right now, and I'm going to do my best to be your eyes and ears and come on here more frequently and just let you know what's going on. From a prepping standpoint, imagine if all of a sudden, so you remember when Roe v. Wade got leaked out of the Supreme Court, right? And you remember the protests and the chaos, not as bad as 2020 was, but there still was a lot of chaos. Imagine if all of a sudden we are put into a situation where a potential response to this or decision about this comes out early before the Supreme Court is ready to actually announce their decision or publish their decision. Imagine the absolute chaos when there's essentially stoppage in government. So the commander-in-chief's removed, the VP's removed, the House Speaker is removed, and we have that continuation of government. We have that in place for a reason. But if this comes out early before any of that is done, we're going to see chaos like we've never seen it before. Now, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. I really don't. And I'm not going to make a guess. Because it is such a unique and highly impactful case, I don't know if the Supreme Court is going to be strong enough and brave enough, courageous enough to take this on. I don't know. It might not go anywhere. But I think that it's ironic that they will be getting the information on this on January 6th of 2023. That's pretty ironic. So from a prepping standpoint, I want you to, keep those winter preps going. Okay, that's number one. But then number two, I want you to make sure that you have your home defensive systems up and running and strengthened, and do what you can with that. I'm going to try to be your eyes and ears, but if this collapses things for just a little while, even remember, it only takes 3 days for this country to go into panic. I want you to be prepared for that. Food, water, medicines, first aid, home defense, personal defense, all of it. Just be ready. Is it going to go anywhere? I don't know. Only time will tell. But we need to be prepared. That's what preparedness and prepping is all about. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. I'm going to be following this case in the Supreme Court. Again, I will let you know when there are any new developments in it at all. And also, I want to look at the ties to Bout and his flagship company to see if there's something more there that we need to know about. So, as always, stay safe, stay aware, and God bless.